Hey everybody, this is Craig Garber. Welcome to Everyone Loves Guitar, and really fortunate today. I have the guitar player from a band called Ultima Radio. They're actually one of my favorite bands. They're out of Austria. It's really hard to classify them. I hate to do that, but you know, they're like alt, progressive, psychedelic, stoner rock. These guys rock. Incredibly clean mixing and engineering, great riffs, great layers of music, man, and I hope you'll check them out. We're with Julian Jauk. His spells his last name Jauk. Again, he's a rhythm guitarist for Ultima Radio. Just one quick announcement. Make sure you go to everyonelovesguitar.com/subscribe to subscribe to the audio and video of the show. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit the subscribe button and the little icon that looks like a bell. That helps us out with the YouTube algorithms. All right, let me tell you a little bit about Julian, then we'll get into this. He's got a really interesting background. He's a rhythm guitarist and engineer for Ultima Radio. They are, as I said, an alt progressive psychedelic stoner rock band out of Austria. And it's really weird to be saying this because it's very typically that doesn't work when you put all these different kind of influences together. These guys make it work. They're super tight, great songwriting, a really tight band. They're a 5-piece band, singer, 2 guitars, bass, and drums. They've released 2 full-length albums and a very long EP over the last 5 years. Julian, the whole band is born and raised in Graz, Austria, and Julian's lived there his entire life. Started playing guitar at a young age, 11. His dad is a music professor, and his brother played guitar, so it was a very natural thing for him to pick up. The second floor of his parents' house, and that's where you are right now, right?
I am, yes.
Yeah. Is a full-on studio that's rented out and used on a regular basis. And his dad is a very serious vintage guitar collector, and hopefully we'll see some of these instruments on the call today. When he's not working at the university, when Julian's not working as a musician, he works, or at the university, we'll talk about that in a minute. He works as a freelancer in the fields of audio, video, and graphic production. He does all the mixing for the band. So I'll tell you right now, if you are looking for a mix engineer, listen to this interview and check out Ultima Radio's music. And I'll tell you how to get a hold of Julian at the end. Right now, he's mixing an EP of metalcore punk band, which he's enjoying, and he does a lot of the artwork and the videos for Ultima Radio, and you can find their website at ultimaradio.at. His influences are Nirvana, Tom Morello as a guitarist, and if you want to listen to the band, my personal favorite is their EP. Just an amazing, just killer record. So with that in mind, thanks for coming on the show, Julian. I appreciate your time.
Thanks for inviting. Thanks for having me here.
You're welcome. Before we get into your music background, I know you currently work as a PhD student researcher in the field of, it said, freeform architecture. I was curious, what does that mean? And what are your daily duties?
So if I have to describe my work in one sentence, it's always a bit tricky, but in fact, it's just building of non-rectangular stuff, very cost and material efficiently. Okay. And I do this in my office at the university. I'm working at the Institute of Architecture and Media, which deals a lot with architecture and digital stuff. And the good thing about that is I can set my working hours myself, so there's always a way to arrange all the music and work-related stuff.
Very cool.
And the interest in architecture, I don't know exactly when it started, I guess quite early.
Yeah.
And it's maybe because just I like to have an overview of things, so both literally and a bit more metaphorically.
You're obviously a super detailed person because you need to be very precise in that field, yes?
I think you can be very precise, but it's not obligatory.
Oh, really? That's
because it's somewhere between being a technician and an artist. So okay. It's always a bit tricky to say it's necessary to be detailed.
Interesting. So give me an example of, you said non-rectangular stuff. Well, give me an example of something that you would build or design to build.
Right now we're working on 3D printing, a mixture of clay-based and mycelium, which is, this is the roots of fungi.
Okay.
And the mixture of this material is 3D printed then to any shape.
Wow. So what would you design, like as a as a building, what would you design that's non-rectangular?
There are already a lot of buildings that are not rectangular. And the thing is that buildings like this exist and they are built, but not in a very smart way, I would say.
Okay.
Because most are just expensive.
Yeah, yeah. Very cool, man. Thank you. Okay, so how did you get started in the music business, and like what was your first sort of break or opportunity?
I think I had my first band at the age of 15 or 16. And the big break, yes, it feels like I'm still working on this. And so hopefully it will be with the current band, Ultima Radio. But let's see. I don't know.
I feel like I'm working on my big break as well, so I understand. How did you guys meet, and when did you guys get together?
In 2014. Yeah, 6 years ago. So we already know each other as friends, or at least by our names. And it was at a local bar, I think. Our then-to-be blessed player just he came up to me and said, "Hey, you're playing guitar, right? We should start a band." And that's it.
That's you guys have a very unique vibe. Like your sound is not, you don't hear all these kind of influences blended together in one smooth like style. And I was curious, like, what were the challenges early on? Like, how did that all come together? You don't see like stoner rock and progressive, or, alt, it's really cool what you do.
First of all, many thanks for that.
You're welcome.
That unique vibe maybe comes from the mixture of all the inputs from us five. So, of course, we more or less agreed on one style of music when we do our rehearsals, but I still think everyone has some slightly different picture of it in his mind. And I think that's how the mix of genres came up. And at the same time, I think to work with that is the most tricky thing about our songwriting. It just takes some time, and I mean by time, so a lot of time. Actually, I would say it takes up to 5 years to have us really attuned to each other. To have this not only mixture of styles, but one style altogether.
So you're at the point now where you feel things are organically together like that. Yeah.
I think you can hear some kind of narrowing down our genres when you go throughout the discography. And I don't want to reveal too much now, but we're working now on stuff which really is the core style of all of these influences. And hopefully this will be the style that defines our sound as band.
Is there like do you all have input in the writing, or does one or two of you take over, or how does that work for you guys?
Mostly we start with the guitars. So we have two guitarists, therefore two inputs to start the songs. And then we just do it in a rehearsal. Right. All together.
Right. It's not a bad place to rehearse and write music, by the way. We are sitting right now.
We have room for the band.
What's that?
That's the studio. We have an extra rehearsal room for the band.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Really cool. Tell me a little bit about Graz. I did some research. It's the second largest city in Austria. Population's around 300,000 people. Did you grow up in the city, like downtown, or more in the suburbs? And what is growing up in Austria like in general?
I mean, it's not like I had a second childhood I could compare with. But growing up in Austria, I think people living here are very, very lucky in terms of health and education, and also the political situation. Although I'm sure the average Austrian guy will still find for sure something to complain about. But overall, I'm feeling just very, very lucky with that. And in Graz, although it's maybe the second largest city in Austria, it's still a quite small and, let's say, cozy city. I think it's ideal for studying and making friends and stay in touch with them. But sometimes it also feels like there is not much more to see or not much more to do, also concerning one's career.
Gotcha. You said that you feel pretty lucky politically in what way? It's calm or?
Okay, maybe at this very moment, maybe it's not good to say that we're feeling lucky. That's maybe a different topic.
Sure.
But what I wanted to say is that it's stable. It's just stable and it's safe. That's it.
That's cool. Man, stable and safe is about as good as you can ask for, honestly.
Especially in times like these.
Yeah, and especially in times like these, because I don't think we are stable or safe, to be honest with you. So, this is just another question about Austria because I'm not familiar with it. Is it different? So the population of the whole country is said around 9 million. How is Austria different than maybe some of the other European countries? I don't mean politically. I mean like landscape or vibe or culturally.
Usually I would have to say landscape, of course, because of the Alps. But to be honest, even the mountains look better in Switzerland. But the unique thing about Austria is, I think it's the people. Some people say that Austrians have some kind of an easygoing laziness, always a little bit unfriendly, but not quite as German as the Germans are.
They have a reputation for being a little stoic like that. Yeah, that's funny, man. So less unfriendly than the Germans are.
A little.
Yeah, that's funny, man. That's a funny way to describe.
But in a lovely way, of course.
I'm shocked. I mean, your English is perfect. I mean, it's probably not, that's probably an ignorant comment on my part, but I mean, I'm shocked how well you speak English.
Thanks for that. I wouldn't say it's perfect, but I have to use it quite a lot at work also. That's
no, I mean, conversationally, it's perfect. You know, it's.
Cool.
Do you speak English during the day at work or German and English?
Sometimes,
yeah.
Depends. We have a lot of colleagues from other countries. That's why.
So everybody, English is like the universal sort of language.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Some of the courses at the university are also only held in English.
Would anything that as a band or you as a musician are looking forward to doing over the next few years that you haven't done yet?
That I haven't done yet. Because I just wanted to say, actually, I would be happy if I can just continue the way it's now. Because after the lockdown, it takes some time to have everything normal again. And regarding work and music stuff, I think it's fine. And if I could just continue this for the next 2 or 3 years, until my studies are done, also, would be just fine.
What's going on with COVID in Austria? How is that being handled? Like, is it still?
I would say we passed it's over feeling, and now we are in kind of the normal but still with Corona phase. Yeah. Which means people are outside. Everything seems quite normal, but of course there are not many events or anything inside. And yes, the masks, they also became just normal, I would say. Yeah, so people are wearing masks there. Mm-hmm. Is it? Only in grocery stores, sorry. What's that? Only in grocery stores. Oh, really? So you can, that's interesting. Really? It's so weird, you know, for an older guy like me to like have to deal with a mask. It's just a weird thing, man. Mm-hmm. It's very strange. Primarily because you can't, I like to see what you look at someone's face, you get a read on what's going on. Mm-hmm.
that's all removed. It just seems very strange to me. So it's a weird thing to do.
Especially if the person is also wearing sunglasses, they're almost completely hidden. That's strange. Yeah.
Totally hidden, man. Yeah. And here I'm in Florida, so everybody's got sunglasses on all the time. Yeah, it's really strange, and it's a little uncomfortable, actually. You know. And also, I always wonder, like, I don't know, you're walking down the street and you see some woman that's attractive, and maybe you want to. I'm happily married, but you know what I mean. If you see somebody that's attractive, you can't, you don't know what the rest, you know, you don't know what the rest of their face looks like. Can you smile at them? Are they open? It's weird. It just seems like it's a big impediment to communication, unfortunately, I think. Yeah. Okay. You're a young guy. I don't even know if this question would be relevant to you, but I'm always curious, like, what any low points that you've had to deal with in life, and how'd you get through them?
Okay, yeah. I mean, of course I had low points as well. Everyone has low points, even because you said I'm young. I mean, maybe even a 4-year-old children.
Well, I hope not, but
they lose their ice cream for the first time. That's their absolutely low point. And yeah, 2 years ago, quite a few heavy things happened, and for some reason it had to be at the almost exact very same time. But how did I get through them? I don't know. I just tried to move on and used work and started projects to keep myself busy.
Right.
Maybe also to distract myself a little, yeah.
Yeah, distractions are good during heavy times sometimes, you know. All right, tell me about your studio there. I want to get some information on it. You overhauled it about 2 years ago. I was curious, what did you do to it, and what did you learn from that experience?
I overhauled it. It was an analog studio. My father started it, I think, 30 years ago, maybe. And it was and still is. It's focused on guitar-related music. So in terms of the room arrangement here and also the equipment. And 2 years ago, I did this overhaul where I basically just digitized everything. So got new consoles, wired up everything from scratch. And it sounds easy, but it takes a lot of planning and it's still a lot of work. And now it's capable of analog and digital recording.
It doesn't sound easy at all. It sounds like a lot of work, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't sound easy at all. There's a lot of work in there. What did you get out of that experience, if anything? Like, did you learn anything?
I think, especially as a musician, it's important to know how the stuff works you're working with. So I wouldn't feel comfortable if I'll go to a recording studio and have no idea about anything. Just, of course, about my instrument, but not so much about the background. And I think this is the most important lesson I learned.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It probably gives you more confidence too, having that knowledge, especially as a mix engineer working with other clients. Yeah, that's cool.
It makes a lot of things easier as well.
Yeah. So I asked you this before we started, but I'll ask you again now that we're recording. You handle all the mixing for Ultima Radio?
Not all the engineering. Usually, I spend a lot of time with the guys trying out different styles, different sounds, whatever. Recording is then done at various places depending on who we're working with together. So, for example, for the vocals of our last recording, we had a producer which was based in Vienna. So we got there to record the vocals there. It's always a bit complicated. It not takes place in just one studio.
Okay.
And of course, the mixing is a lot of work, but I like to have the final steps, also the mastering done, made by an outside person, a neutral one, because I think it's just very important.
Yeah, to have some of the third party overseeing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think.
Although you don't want to blame yourself after a few years, right?
Yeah. No, and plus it's good you get someone else's opinion that you feel is qualified. How far is Vienna from you? 2
hours, maybe 2.5. Okay. Not so far.
Yeah. Um, I love this. I've told you about this song. I love, you guys have a song called Moroccan Honey. It's on the
Yeah.
EP. That is such an amazing track.
This was actually our very first song.
Was it the first song you wrote or the first song you recorded?
I think both. I mean, of course, there were some demo versions of other songs, but they were basically just one riff and another riff, and that's it. And this one was the first song, yeah, so to say.
Man, you did such a great job on the mixing on that. It's like all these different layers, and then you kind of have like, you have the Ultima Radio vibe, but underneath it, you have that sort of like Moroccan groove going on, man. That's a difficult thing to put together like that.
The song was also written in Morocco.
It was written while you were in Morocco?
Yeah, it was our bass player and the singer. They've been on a trip and wrote the song there, yeah.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I love that song, man. It just, I just, the whole package of it is just so well done. It's like the perfect example of good for me, I think, of good engineering, you know. As far as like guitars and guitar related equipment, is there a big availability of that in Austria, or do you have to go to other places?
We have a great local store here in our city, and you can nearly get everything there, or at least let me say you can order everything there. Okay,
gotcha.
Everything you need, and for everything else, there is this huge German retailer. Maybe you've heard of it, Thomann.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. They're like one of the biggest music stores in Europe, I think, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Where do you get?
We're covered.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
We're covered. That's fine.
Where has your dad gotten all his vintage instruments?
I think most of them from the local guitar shop, yeah, here in Graz.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool, man.
Only some of them are bought secondhand.
Yeah.
And over the internet or somewhere.
What, like, does he Reverb or eBay? What is it? Where would he go for that? Or is there like an eBay of guitars in Europe?
Not one especially for guitars, but in Austria we have a very small platform for every secondhand stuff. And there you can find a lot of guitars and guitar-related equipment as well.
What's that called?
It's called Will haben. It's German and it means I want to have.
That's cool. That's very cool. Let's talk about your guitars. I know you got that 7-string is a big important one to you.
Yes.
Tell me about your main guitar, and what would be your top 3 guitars that you have that you play?
Top 3. Of course, number 1 would be the custom made. So the one I made to fit exactly the needs of playing live within the band. Second place.
Can you show that? Do you have the guitars handy? Can you show them?
Of course.
Yeah,
of course,
man. Let's check them out. That'd be great. And then you could tell us about them in detail.
Here it is.
Okay, so tell us about that guitar. It's a 7-string, almost like a Telecaster with 2 humbuckers, it looks like, and is that a Floyd?
Exactly, yeah.
And a Floyd Rose?
It's a very, very thick neck because of the 7 strings, and I use quite heavy strings as well.
What strings do you use?
Up to 64, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And 2 humbuckers with coil splitting. That's why they are colored this way. And a Floyd Rose. And the style is a Telecaster style. I just made a custom. It's a bit too, I can't show it clearly.
That neck is so thick, man. Holy shit.
It really is, yeah.
You have big hands. Like, I couldn't play that thing. Oh my God, it's massive. Plus,
I just wanted to be very, very stable for live situations. That's why.
How long have you been playing a 7-string guitar?
About the last 2 years, I think. I mean, I've tried it before, of course, but within the last 2 years, we decided to change our tunings, and that's where where I also started to play 7-string within the band.
How is that tuned?
It's just a standard tuning and another H down there. B. You say B, right? Sorry.
Yeah. 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 Okay. That's interesting. And do you tune half a step down?
It's tuning half a step down is a bit tricky with the flight rose. Or what do you mean?
No, that's what I was asking. If you tune a half step, a lot of guys play half step down just because they feel it sounds better.
Oh, you mean these kind of drop tunings?
Yeah. Yeah. Just everything is tuned one half step down. It's standard tuning, but everything's half a step down.
No, we've never tried it.
Yeah.
It's always been with standard tunings.
Okay. So what, and you just decided that's what you needed. That's really cool. I mean, you just,
Yeah.
I think that, yeah.
It was hard to find. So I needed a 7-string guitar, and it was hard to find a non-metal guitar.
Right.
And I definitely wanted one with a Floyd Rose, and it was really hard to find just this combination as a 7-string as well.
Yeah. That was
And
not metal.
it's just my favorite guitar. That's why I chose the Telecaster style.
That's cool.
Also because it's flat and the cases are more easy to handle.
That's cool.
For practical reasons.
What would be your second and third?
Yeah, the second one I think would be, do you know the Gibson Midtown?
Yes, I do.
I love the Midtown. The one with 2 P90 pickups.
That's like a small 335, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And the third place, I have a 6-string bass guitar. This would be a good third place to have everything covered. It's a cheap one, but it's just fun to play.
Do you play bass a lot?
At home, at least, yeah.
Yeah, but not with the band.
Not with the band, no.
Do you do a lot of production? Like, are you a producer also?
I like to, of course, their own stuff. It's not possible to be not a producer with their own stuff.
Yeah.
But I also enjoy to, I wouldn't say produce, but to work on the songs with other bands, especially in the pre-production phase.
So you'll pull out the bass guitar at times for that?
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. All right, so let me ask you this. Do you have any of your dad's vintage guitars around that you could show us?
I can show you. We have a so-called guitar room. I can show you the guitar room if you want to.
Dude, that'd be great. Yeah, maybe we could look at a couple of his specific guitars.
Let me grab the computer.
Yeah, this is awesome. Thank you.
And it's right next.
Holy shit.
That's the guitar room. Over there, some more guitars. But of course, that's over there, some as well.
All right. So is there one or two you could show us?
The recording room.
Oh, man. Okay. So what's your favorite amp in there?
Packed with guitars as well.
Yeah.
The favorite amp in there, it's maybe, usually I play the orange amp.
Okay.
But also I would say the favorite amp, tricky. Fender Twin Reverb, maybe? A classic one?
Sure, sure. Were you ever on Fuzzorama Records?
We released together with another band from Graz, which is called Witch Rider.
Yeah, I know them. Yeah, good band.
We did a
split?
Split, yes, but 7-inch vinyl split, yes.
I think Dango plays an orange amp, I think.
Yeah?
From Fuzzorama Records. From Truck Fighters. Yeah.
It would be fun for the Truck Fighter sound, yeah?
Yeah, yeah. I think he plays it. Holy shit.
I haven't seen them live, so I don't know really.
Yeah, they're like one of my favorite bands.
Cool.
Yeah, Truck Fighters. You know, that Mania album I thought was just perfect, man. That was a great record that they made. So I was sad when they broke up.
But I think Truck Fighters is one of the most important bands. So from this time for stoner rock.
Yeah, oh, I agree with you. Another band. Do you know Gomer Pyle?
No, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're out of I think they're in the Netherlands. Another good band.
Okay.
Yeah. What's the rarest guitar in there that you think in your dad's
The
collection?
rare.
Or his favorite? What's his favorite?
I know that the Gibson L5 is his favorite because it's one of the very first and maybe also one of the most expensive here.
Yeah.
I don't know where it is. I'm very sorry. It's somehow tricky to find guitars you're looking for.
There's like 60 or 70 of them, of course, man. Holy shit. Does your dad play a lot of jazz? Is that why he has an L5?
He used to, but I would say he's a rock guitarist as well, yeah. I'm sure he would like to say hello, but he's working on an exhibition for the Electronica Festival right now, so he's not here. I'm sorry for that.
No, that's cool, man. He's got a hell of a nice studio there. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's got to be one of the nicest studios in Graz, I'm sure, no?
At least when it comes to the guitar equipment, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's got some great looking classic amps in there and some really cool guitars.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Compared to the size of the city of Graz,
yeah,
there are quite a few studios and also a lot of bands. That's why there's a lot of cool guys for this kind of music, yeah.
That's cool. I actually remember I actually had somebody from Austria on. I told you were my first guy. I had a guy, he's a jazz, like a fusion jazz player, Alex Machacek. Do you happen to know him?
No, sorry.
He lives here. I think he lives in LA now. He's been here a little while, but he's originally from Austria.
Okay, cool.
5 years ago. All right. Do you remember the first CD you purchased?
I do remember, yes. It was from the punk band Bad Religion.
That's funny.
But I don't remember the name of the album because they just have an insane discography.
Bad Religion? What kind of music do they make?
It's a punk band.
Punk, okay.
Straightforward.
I have to check them out. All right, tell me your top three. If I say Desert Island Discs, you know what I mean by that?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, top three albums.
The top three albums I will take with me on a desert island, right?
Correct. There you go. A desert island in Austria.
I would say the first Rage Against the Machine album.
Oh, great record.
The third one, Battle Over Los Angeles, doesn't matter. Always all times classic Amnesiac from Radiohead.
Okay.
The third one, let me take a rewriteable CD with me, maybe for an old mixtape or something like that.
Yeah.
Number 3.
Yeah, that sounds good. So it's interesting because I would hear Radiohead influence in Ultima Radio, not Radiohead, but that genre.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and especially in the production and the mix, I hear that in Ultima Radio's music for sure. You know,
nice.
Yeah, Rage, not really. It's a great band. I love the band. You know, but I'm just so impressed with how you guys put your music together. It's I've never heard another band have that many. I don't want to sound like a fanboy, but you don't hear bands that have that much going on and it sounds good.
Cool.
You know, it sounds like one. It sounds like
I know we have a lot of layers. I know it from mixing. Sometimes it's up to 100 tracks, just ambient stuff, drum stuff, percussion stuff, vocal stuff, guitar stuff. Yeah.
But that's hard to do, and you guys pull it off really clean, man. Mm-hmm. Is it hard to reproduce that in concert, live?
I would say to a certain amount, yes. But as we are also 5 people, I think 5 people is enough to have a very, very, also a very dense performance live. So I would say it's not so much different from the recording, but it has some more energy and it's a bit more rough, I would say.
How's the scene in Austria as far as like here in the States, you know, over the last 10 years and specifically, there's so much consolidation as far as clubs closing and there's just less venues. Has it been like that in Austria as well?
I mean, right now is, of course, due to this whole lockdown thing, it's a bit tricky. But in general, I would say that there's a quite good scene in Austria.
It's a good scene.
Yeah.
That's great.
A lot of festivals, a lot of clubs, and therefore a lot of bands.
Yeah.
Really happy with this, yeah.
That's great. I know so many artists from America go over to Europe and play now because there's more opportunity there and they make money there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's hard to make money here because the clubs are so strapped.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because the cost of running business is so high here. It's ridiculous.
Okay,
yeah. Yeah. A lot of people go to Europe and you guys buy merch. I don't know. It's just what I hear from doing a lot of interviews is that it's they're just treated better as players over there. You know, they're not people appreciate good music. Doesn't necessarily have to be what have you done lately. It's just they respect somebody playing good music in general. It seems a little more open there for music. Yeah. All right. Ask you some personal questions now, man.
Sure.
This is a tough one. What do you like most about yourself? That's always a tough question.
Okay. It's hard to answer that without sounding too narcissistic, maybe. But I'm a very active person, and I like that.
Yeah.
At the same time, I'm feeling a bit restless somehow. So this one counts as pro and con, maybe.
Well, if you're super active, yeah. If you're driven to be active, you're always going to feel restless because you're driven to be active.
Right.
I think it's like that. If you're driven for anything, you always want more of that. You know, pursuit of that. And it's hard to feel settled if you're driven, you know? Yeah, I understand. What do you do activity wise?
As you said in the beginning, I do a lot of stuff around the music related stuff for the band as well. So I did all the artworks. So I'm into digital art and photography and videography. I also did some press photos, videos, also for other bands.
Oh, that's great.
And lately, so one other skill I would say is I'm a bit into electronics. So I'm the one who repairs all the stuff, either on stage or in the studio. And lately I also build stage lights for our band. Programmable stage lights.
You'll never work for anybody. You'll be self-employed, I'm sure, your whole life when you have all these interests.
I think this really could work out, but let's see. So far it's working.
Yeah, why not? I mean, you have all these things that you like and that you could provide a service for. Yeah, that's great. Are you good with balancing time, like between work and then relaxing?
Mm-hmm. I think so, yes. Yeah. I like to represent the idea that there's more than enough time for everything as long as you enjoy the things you do, I would say.
Yeah.
But I guess you have to go and ask my family and friends about that.
I think in general, Americans are too work driven. We are very, a lot of us, myself included at times, are out of balance. And I find that Europeans tend to be more, not so, you know, they having fun is an important part of their life. And in America, a lot of us, work is our way of having fun, which is not healthy.
Okay, yeah, I can imagine. But it also depends on where to draw the line between work and hobbies.
Yeah. Best childhood memory.
Best childhood memory. Good question. I think maybe it was a camping trip. I remember a certain camping trip. We've been to Paris for a few weeks, and I found a cat, or I would say the cat found me because I was just a little boy. And yeah, we had this cat for the next 10 or 15 years. And I remember just a picture of it maybe, but I do remember it. And I would say that's the best childhood memory, yeah.
That's a great story, man.
Yeah.
So you found a cat when you were camping in Paris, you took it home and raised it and for the next 15
We
years.
did.
That's awesome, man.
I'm not sure if it was legal, but we did.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, I have a lot of cats. I love cats. We love animals. So that's cool, man. Very cool. Most important thing your dad taught you?
I would say it's thinking things through. Yeah. Not overthinking, but still having a plan.
Every time I ask that question, I always wonder, like, if somebody asked my kids that question, what they would respond. Yeah. I have to ask them sometime myself. I'm going to ask them. That'd be interesting, because you never know what, and I don't know how, you know, I have to ask them that. How about your mom? Most important thing your mom taught you?
Being patient. That's it.
You have any hobbies outside of music?
Yes, traveling by bike. Actually, that's the only one.
Really? Where do you, like, how far do you go?
Depending on how much time I have. But a few 100 kilometers is okay for a few days.
Really? Holy shit.
It's possible if you just follow the rivers until you reach the sea. That's perfect. It's not so far from here. I think it's about 500 kilometers. And if you have 1 week time, that's cool.
So that's my hobby. Do you go with people, or you just go yourself, or?
Usually, I just go with one person, so that you're not alone, because I think maybe that's not a good idea.
Yeah.
But in teams of two, it's fine, yeah.
And it's pretty safe. Is the road safe? Like, is it a?
It is, yeah. No, that's I would say there's an extra touristic market for stuff like this here in Austria.
Interesting.
And not only in Austria, also in the countries around, yeah.
God, you must be in great shape, because you're going up and down these big, massive hills.
I would say it's more like a psychological thing and not so much a physical thing.
No, man, you got to be in shape to do that. I don't care how much how strong your mind is, but yes, you got to have a strong mind, but you got to be in shape to do that, man. Yeah. That's really tough. You know, because I live in Florida, it's so flat.
Yeah.
There's no hills here at all. Maybe 8 feet is the biggest hill in the whole state.
Yeah. Really I also try to avoid the hills. That's why I'm just following the rivers. You're always safe if you're along the river.
Yeah. And so there's like a bike path next to it, or a trail or something?
Yeah. Most of the times there's a bike path.
Yeah. What's the weather like there?
Right now or in general?
No, right now. So it's September. What's the weather like?
It's still summer, I think.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah.
And it's just nice. It's not too hot anymore, but the days are long, and
yeah,
maybe the best time of the year.
Do you guys have air conditioning there?
Usually not, no.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
In some big office buildings, but it's I don't know, the maximum temperature. It's not so hot in Austria that we would really need air conditioning.
They don't have any in England either. I was always, and now it's very hot there. My wife's family was saying, so
okay,
they need air conditioning right now. It's just been brutal there. Yeah, interesting, man. I couldn't imagine a world without air conditioning. It'd be very funny. Yeah. Favorite place you've traveled?
Favorite place? I would say it was in Bolivia. There was a huge salt desert. I don't remember the name, but anything white and empty is fine.
Wow, what were you doing in Bolivia?
We did a trip through South America.
Wow.
No, I mean, not through the whole continent, but at least half of it.
That's cool, man.
It was, really was.
Yeah, that's nice. Do you speak Spanish?
No.
Did they speak?
Did
they speak English there?
No, also not.
That must have been tough.
Yeah.
2 more questions, and thank you for everything. funniest or most embarrassing thing that's happened to you on stage?
Oh, okay. I was afraid you were be asking this. Luckily, I don't have a lot of over-the-top embarrassing moments.
Hmm.
But I remember this one. We had a show. We were playing a show, and yeah, it was the last song. The light was still on, and of course was still inside. I put my guitar in the case. Then I did something else. I don't know why. Forgot to close the case. Lifted it up. Dropped the guitar in front of everyone.
Oh,
But nothing happened so far.
nothing happened.
The guitar is still fine. Don't
That's
worry.
cool. Where was that? Where did that take place?
It was a location in our hometown. Yes.
In Graz.
It's called Explosive.
When non-COVID times, where do you guys tend to gig?
Usually we tend to gig, of course, in Austria, but I think most of our concerts are in Germany
Interesting.
because it's just a huge country. There are a lot of cities, a lot of possibilities to play, and also festivals in Czech Republic. I don't know why, but festivals in Czech Republic are more fun than in Austria.
Interesting. In what way?
It's just a bit more independent. Everything is organized more independent and a bit not so strict. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's why it's more.
Man, it's so cool to have like all these countries so close to you, because it's different in each country, We don't have
There's
that
because language in every country, and sometimes they have their own currency as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
But
it's really cool.
traveling a lot more funny, yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys book your own gigs or do you have a booking agent?
I would say we book 90% of our gigs by ourselves, yeah. Our singer is our booker at the same time, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So each of you has a role besides whatever instrument you play.
Exactly, yeah. We try to distribute the stuff a little bit so that we have an expert for every aspect. And, yeah.
That's another good thing to have 5 people in the band. You got a little more,
right.
Sort of brain power working for you there as far as that goes.
Mm-hmm.
Best advice that you've ever been given so far, and who gave it to you?
The best advice. Is this your last question? The top question?
No, I think I'm going to ask you one more actually.
Okay.
I'll ask you one more.
I don't know. I think it was at the university. We're more or less talking about the meaning of life, but in a very metaphorically way. And I always thought it's just about growth, so more or less without a purpose. And the professor then countered and said, yeah, it's about growth, but also about evolution. And I think this one you can adapt to many things in life.
What do you mean evolution? Like, what did he mean in that context?
Not just going on, not just growing, not just, I don't know, not just live, but also change something. So
okay.
Getting better at stuff, and yeah. It's really hard to say.
Yeah. That's a tough question. And it's a tough answer what you're giving.
It really is.
Is weed legal there?
In Austria, no.
Yeah.
It's not legal.
Even medically?
I'm not sure about the medical stuff.
Interesting.
Is some kind of weed? I don't smoke, so I have no idea about this whole thing.
Sure.
But there is some kind of weed, but it's some kind of artificial weed. I don't know exactly, which is legal. And there are small shops for this, but in general, it's not legal. But of course, everyone is smoking.
Yeah. Okay, so are the cops strict on that? Like, do they bother somebody if they smell someone smoking a joint or something?
I think if they just smell something, it's not enough. really have to get caught while you're dealing.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think that's not good.
Yeah.
But just having a smoke, it's mostly fine, I would say.
Yeah, that's interesting. Is the rest, is Europe like that in general, as far as it's not legal anywhere, or is it legal in certain places?
I think it's more or less everywhere the same, except of course for Holland.
For Holland, yeah.
Because it's legal
It's been legal there a
there.
long time, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because everybody goes to Holland, they go to the hash bars and stuff, right?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, right, right.
It's also not so far from here, so
Oh, that's good.
10 hours by car.
How far?
10 hours by car, I think.
Okay, that's cool. Last question for sure. Most important lesson that you've learned in life so far?
Okay, that's the top question. Let's see. Most important lesson, I would say that life isn't fair, and it never claimed to be fair. And if you don't like it, it's up to you to change it. That's it.
I agree. Thank you, man. Hey, listen, let me tell people where to find the band and if somebody wants to work with you as well. Okay, first of all, I would love everybody to check out the band. It's Ultima Radio, Ultima Radio. They have it all together. Really cool band, and I think you'll enjoy it. Their latest album is called Dusk, D-U-S-K City. Came out about a year ago. It's a great record. My personal favorite is the Ultima Radio EP. It's been remastered. It's, I mean, just killer tracks on there, man. I mean, all their records are great. You know, even the you guys did like a split with something called Sun Collector. Is that
Sun Collector was a single, yes?
Yeah, right.
LP.
Yeah, right. That was good. So, I mean, these guys are a great band. You could find them online at, like I said, the website is ultimaradio.at, ultimaradio.at, but also their social media is pretty active. So you'll find them on Facebook and Instagram. So follow them on those places. Also, Bandcamp and iTunes is where you want to check out their music. If you like the music and you're interested in working with Julian on some mixing, basically go to the Ultima Radio Facebook page and message him there. You know, give him some information, give him some links to your music so he can figure out what's going on. But he is this guy is a fantastic engineer, man. You could probably just make a living as an engineer, man. Like, hopefully I will someday. Yeah, I mean, you do a really good job. I listen to a lot of music, man. Your engineering is great. And again, his last name is Jauk. It's spelled J-A-U-K. See, I got it right. Yeah, but it's Julian Jauk. And go to Ultima Radio on Facebook and email, and send a message. Anything else you want to promote? Is there any like dates that you guys have set up for the end of this year or next year or anything yet? We have some gigs in September at the festival in the Czech Republic. What's the name of the festival? I don't remember the name. I'm sorry. No, that's cool. Festival in the Czech Republic. What else? And some indoor shows in Germany and Austria. Okay. That's it. Great, man. Well, if anybody's starting to play live again. That's fantastic, man. Have you played any live shows yet? You mean after the lockdown? Yeah, yeah. We had only a single one and a streaming festival, which was very nicely organized, but still a strange experience. Yeah, I would imagine. Are you guys rusty? It's got to be weird to play again after so much time. I don't think so. No, okay. We did a lot of rehearsals. Okay, you did. Good. We are active on writing songs, so everyone should be fit on their instrument. I think it's fine. Great. Because I talked to a couple of guys here in the States that had shows, and it was like, I mean, they played well, but they said they would just kind of like what you said. It felt weird, and they were a little rusty, you know, just because they hadn't played together, you know. For sure, it takes some time or some concerts to get into it again. Yeah. Yeah. You never come here to play, do you? You guys have not yet. I'm sorry. Well, dude, if you come to the States, make sure you email me because I'll be at your show. Of course, we will. Yeah. Listen, Thank you very much for your time. And you're a really cool guy, excellent musician, super talented. And, you come back on again in a few years when you have your empire slowly starting to build up, and we'll see check in on you and see what's happening. Everybody check out Ultima Radio. Great band. Really enjoy them. One of my favorites. And listen to Julian Jauk as an engineer. Anything else that you want to promote or say or leave with anybody?
Nothing in particular.
All right.
Just great. Thanks for having me. Thanks for promoting stuff. It was my pleasure to be here.
Thank you, man. Likewise. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this, please share it on your social media channels with your friends. We appreciate it. Please check out the band Ultima Radio. Great band. And Julian Jauk is on Facebook and Instagram, Ultima Radio. And most important, man, remember, especially nowadays, remember that happiness really is a choice. So choose wisely. Be nice, go play a guitar, and have fun. Till next time, peace and love, everybody. I am out. Thank you so much, Julian.